My name is Vincent Brooks, and I go by Vab the Artist. To be honest, I didn't start on accident, but I started unintentionally. Probably around my senior year in high school, I wanted to get shoes customized, but for a couple of reasons, it fell through with the person I was going through. But at the end of the day, I still wanted my shoes customized, so I started practicing on my own. Then when I got to college as a freshman, I started kind of dabbling with my own shoes. I used the wrong paint at first, but through a lot of trial and error, I saw that I really enjoyed doing it. And then it got to the point where people started to ask me to do it on theirs. At the time when I really started, I was in school for entrepreneurship anyway. And it got to the point where the classes got a little repetitive, and I felt like I was learning a lot more experience-wise than I was in the classroom. And then at the same time, my orders started to pick up. So as I was getting more and more orders, I started to get orders from overseas, orders from out of state on a regular basis while I was in school. So I would stop going to class and use that time to work. And then as I started making a decent amount of money, money to live off on, that's when I decided that this was something I could do long term. Probably the hardest part were probably two parts. The first part was trying to get my family behind the idea of me leaving school. Typically, that's just not something you do if you're trying to be successful. Or like, that's the standard mode of thinking that that's not something that you typically do. But surprisingly, it didn't take that much to get them behind it and understand, because all I had to do was show them that the progress that I had made and the attention that I was getting for the work that I was doing. So I mean, that kind of convinced them the same way it convinced me. On the other hand, I had myself to think about, which was like, okay, if I leave school and this doesn't work out, am I really making a big mistake? So just getting over that was, making a gut decision and just saying, you know what? One day I went to the financial aid office. I thought I paid all of my money up for college, and then they told me I owed money, and that was like the third time it had happened. So I kind of got tired of just the typical collegeness and being broke and stuff like that. So I felt like I needed to take that opportunity to go out on my own and do something different. Maybe it will work out better than it typically does. Short-term wise, a lot of people disagree with this, but I actually want to not stop, but kind of taper down doing actual custom hand-painted, like me actually doing the shoes. Maybe in the next year and a half, I want to taper that down to, right now I might be at 30 orders a month, where I would love to be at maybe 3 to 5 a month, just so I can do extremely really detailed work. And that's because I want to run my own sneaker brand. Hopefully in the next year and a half as well, I'll be running my own sneaker brand full time, and that'll be my main focus. That's what I kind of want to do. This is gonna be one of the first, well, this is the first sample of any of my designs. I had to go through a guy named JBF Customs to get it made. I think people will really like the shoe when it comes out. The way the world is set up today, if you want to be successful, you have to work. 9 times out of 10, you have to work harder than everybody else who is working in your field, if you want to be as successful as I feel like most people want to. The bad thing about that is most people aren't willing to do that. My mode of thinking is, since I left school, I have to put in just as much time, if not more, as I would have put in classes to teach myself about my craft. If I'm not learning about my craft on a regular basis, how do I expect to be the best at what I do? And with that, you really just you gotta stay on yourself. Because once you're on your own and you're doing it on your own, it's very easy to get laid back and lax and say, okay, I'll do this tomorrow. Oh, okay, I got all the time in the world, because you don't have anybody over your shoulder. So actually it's harder when you're off on your own than it is if you're working a regular job, or if you're in school and you just are taking that standard path. You really just have to stay focused. It's a mental thing. It's a mental battle every day. It gets dry, but you have to really sacrifice. While you're pursuing whatever it is that you really have a passion for, nothing else matters. So your family's opinion don't matter, your friend's opinion don't matter, your significant other's opinion doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is your drive and how hard you're willing to push yourself to get where you want to go. At the end of the day, you're only competing against yourself, and only you will regret if you didn't take that opportunity. No goal is unreachable, but just be prepared to work. And I mean work every day for the majority of those days. If you want something that bad, you have to work. You gotta outwork everybody. You gotta outwork yourself from yesterday, yourself from last year, yourself from a minute ago, a second ago. Like I said, you can achieve anything you want to achieve. Just be prepared to work. The biggest thing, like the most rewarding experience, is seeing people's reactions when they love the shoe that I give them. Or, I mean, when they love the product that I give them. That makes it all worthwhile.